A news reporter stands in front of the infamous Amityville house, police swarming behind her like a silent wall of tension. She tells the viewers that for years this place has been cursed with unspeakable hauntings and chilling murders. Evil so strong, even a priest has battled to push it back. Suddenly, a car pulls up. Its door creaks open, and out steps a figure draped in mystery. She rushes forward, firing off questions. His voice sends a shiver down her spine, that calm, haunting tone. It must be him. She leans in, whispering in disbelief. Father Bena? Then louder, are you here to perform an exorcism? Suddenly, bang! The front door slams shut by itself, sending a jolt of panic through everyone outside. The cameraman, white as a sheet, shoves his gear into the reporter's hands and bolts. He's done filming this nightmare. Inside, Father Bena stands firm in the shadows. He speaks into the void, voice steady and cold. He knows the evil is listening, and its end is near. From the darkness, a voice answers, cruel and arrogant. It taunts Bena, declaring, I once stood beside God. Then it sneers. Bena is a shadow of God, a failure who will soon be erased. It laughs, cruel and cutting, daring to ask if this frail man was really sent to destroy it. Unshaken, Bena begins the exorcism with fire in his voice. He demands that the spirit leave this house and return to hell where it belongs. The spirit lashes back, snarling that God has forsaken him, that he's weak and powerless, but Bena refuses to falter. He roars that God still stands with him, and that divine strength surges through him now. Suddenly the cross in his hand spins wildly, then the holy water bubbles and hisses like lava. Bena drops the boiling vial, but the cross won't stop turning, spinning with such force that it tears his hand free from his arm. Blood spills, but Bena doesn't scream. He doesn't stop. Gritting his teeth, he pushes on with the ritual. And something begins to shift. Outside, the police and news crew gape in horror as the house begins to rumble, then shake, then rip free from the very earth. It floats upward, bricks cracking, windows glowing. The spirit shrieks in rage, realizing Bena's power is working, but it snarls one last vow. If it must go, it's dragging Bena with it. In a final flash of light, Bena collapses, unconscious, and the Amityville house blasts into the sky like a rocket, vanishing into the stars. 1,000 years later, humans have conquered space, hopping between planets like neighborhood stops. Deep in the cosmos, a sleek ship called Wyoming 227 soars through the void on a critical mission: track and eliminate rogue black holes before they devour everything in their path. Aboard are 5 elite crew members: Captain Hallstead, stern and seasoned; Dr. Normie, the no-nonsense medical brain; Yakowitz, always locked and loaded as weapons chief; Maitland, the sharp-eyed navigator; and Vox, the ever-calculating cyborg with more circuits than anyone dares to count. During the lonely voyage, Hallstead connects with Madame Tai, back on Earth and monitoring the mission from the command tower of a powerful space conglomerate. She reminds Hallstead that what they're doing matters. They're making the galaxy safer for future explorers. But Hallstead's voice is heavy. He admits space is slowly wearing down his team, and they're down to one final black hole destroyer. One last mission, then it's time to go home. Tai assures him they'll be cleared to return right after this, and even adds with a smile, "Dinner's on me when you get back." Suddenly, alarms flash. Maitland spots something massive. Vox confirms it. This is the largest black hole ever recorded. Hallstead's command is sharp. He orders Yakowitz to arm the nuke, but just as Yakowitz primes the weapon, Vox halts them. "Wait. Something's not right," he warns. Everyone gathers around as Vox projects live footage from the edge of the black hole, and there, spinning gently in the pull of oblivion, sits a house. A house. The crew stares in disbelief, recognizing its 21st century architecture. Ordinary shingles, a picket fence, a front porch where shadows sleep. But we know what they don't. It's the Amityville house, the very one Father Bena hurled into the stars 1,000 years ago. And now, somehow, it's back. Normie squints at the eerie footage and suggests the object might just be busted space debris, a ghost ship rotting in orbit, but Vox scans it thoroughly and shakes his head. No record of any known vessel in this sector, he says. And then, the real shocker, he reports that the object is made of compressed wood, rusted metal, and faint traces of life. Life that shouldn't exist this close to a black hole. Before anyone can react, a surge of raw energy lashes out from the object like a whip of lightning. Vox's systems scream with alerts. It's not from the black hole. This is something else entirely. The ship shudders as a shockwave barrels into it. Hallstead demands answers, and Vox calmly reports. It came from the object. Then, bam! A glowing red symbol materializes in space, pulsing with dark energy. It looks like something out of ancient nightmares, something diabolical. Vox confirms what everyone fears. It's an old Earth symbol, one associated with pure evil. With hearts racing, Hallstead makes a difficult call. They can't launch the black hole destroyer without checking for survivors inside that twisted house. He orders Vox to prep for transport. Normie dashes toward the med lab to gear up, but halfway there she suddenly freezes. Something's watching her. Something's on the ship. A heavy force slams into her, invisible and furious. She stumbles, bruised but alive, and flees to warn Hallstead. Meanwhile, Vox beams to the house, feeding back live footage as he explores its rotting halls. Shadows flicker, doors creak open. Then, he stops. A humanoid figure stands before him. The team sees nothing but empty space. They shout through the comms. "Vox? There's no one there!" But Vox insists. "I see it. I'm communicating." The being speaks through the static. "We are Legion." Vox describes the thing. Twisted limbs, glowing eyes, an unholy form. Then, snap! The creature grabs his head. The feed cuts out. Silence. Maitland stares at the screen. "Vox is gone," he whispers. "No readings." Hallstead doesn't hesitate. He slams his fist down and demands a rescue mission for Vox. Maitland raises an eyebrow. "He's just a bot," he argues. "Let's destroy the place and move on." But Hallstead shuts him down fast. "Vox is one of us. He's part of this crew," he barks. Maitland reluctantly takes the helm to prep the transport, while Yakowitz readies the weapons, just in case this mission takes a deadly turn. With grim focus, Hallstead and Normie gear up and teleport to the house. Instantly, they sense something off. The air is too still. The shadows twitch at the edges of their vision. As they explore, they step into what looks like a kitchen, but they call it the Nutrition Center, and since its layout mirrors the food stations back on their ship, it's familiar and wrong. Suddenly, Normie jerks back. She sees a hand on the floor, lifeless and pale. Shaking her head, she mutters, "Just a trick of the light." But she's wrong. The hand belonged to Father Bena, severed years ago, still clutching the half-melted cross. Then, just a few feet away, they find Vox. He's sprawled on the ground like a discarded doll, but his body is intact. No scorch marks, no signs of a system overload. "It's not disintegration," Normie whispers. "Something else happened here." As she kneels beside him, her voice suddenly dies. She stares forward, eyes glazing over. Something's taken her mind. Hallstead grabs her shoulder and yells her name, but she doesn't even flinch. Without a word, she turns and glides up the staircase like she's being pulled by invisible strings. Hallstead races after her as she leads him into a dusty room. Then, she stops. Slowly, she raises an arm and points to a closet door. "Hallstead, tense and confused, throws it open. And there it is. Bena's body, lifeless, watching. Normie jolts awake, dazed and blinking. Her eyes dart around as Hallstead grips her shoulders. "What happened?" he asks urgently. Normie rubs her head, confused. "I remember leaning over Vox. Then I was in that room." Her gaze falls on the body sprawled nearby. "Whose body is that?" she whispers. But Hallstead frowns. "You brought me to him," he replies. Without wasting another second, Hallstead contacts Maitland. "We're coming back with a guest. Vox is gone," he says grimly. Back aboard the ship, Bena's body is placed gently into the med lab. Normie works quickly, scanning his vitals. Her voice is uncertain. "He's alive, barely. The readings are erratic, like he's in some kind of limbo." Hallstead narrows his eyes. He's connected to this. Somehow, he knows what's happening. Normie nods slowly. It could be suspended animation, maybe something spiritual, or artificial. I'll keep monitoring his status. Hallstead agrees and turns to leave. He needs to brief Madame Tai, but the moment he steps out, Bena's eyes snap open. Hallstead patches through to Earth. Madame Tai appears on screen, trying to lighten the mood. "You sure this isn't just a long excuse to avoid our dinner?" she jokes. But Hallstead doesn't smile. He lays it all out, the black hole, the ancient symbol, the house floating in deep space, and the man they found in stasis. Tai's playful tone drops. "You think you're in danger?" she asks. Hallstead hesitates. "I don't know, it's just a feeling." Tai nods. "Send everything you have. We'll analyze the data. And if anything shifts, I want to know immediately." In the med lab, Bena's eyes snap open. Then, without warning, he lunges at Normie and starts choking her. Panic floods her face, but just as suddenly as it began, he releases her and stares outside the viewport. There it is, the same evil sign glowing like a curse in space. His expression shifts to horror. He knows what's coming. Without saying a word, Bena bolts out of the lab. Normie scrambles to the comms, her voice shaky as she alerts the others. "Bena's on the loose." Meanwhile, Bena barrels into the weapons chamber, shoving Yakwitz aside like he's nothing. He slams his hand onto the nuke controls and starts the launch sequence. But before he can finish, Maitland shoots him. The blast knocks Bena unconscious, saving the ship by seconds. Yakwitz stares at the panel in disbelief. "How did he know that sequence?" he mutters. "That's classified." Far away, deep within the eerie house, the entity known as Legion peers out through dusty windows. It sees the stars, the planets, the galaxies, and it grins. The team surrounds him, tense. He groans an apology and asks, "Where am I?" Maitland steps forward, furious, but Hallstead steps in. "Back off, leave us," he turns to Bena, cold as steel. "You assaulted an officer and tried to launch a nuke. That's a death sentence." Bena breathes heavily. "I'm from Earth. It's 2021. Silence." Normie speaks next, soft but direct. "Earth's gone, imploded. That was centuries ago. It's 3021 now." Hallstead narrows his eyes. "Then explain how you ended up in that house." Bena's voice trembles. "I'm a priest. I fought something evil in that house. I begged God for help, then everything went white. I was pulled into the sky with it." Hallstead scoffs, but Bena's eyes are full of fear. "The signs, the pentagram, that thing is here." Normie exchanges a worried glance. "Could it really be spreading?" Hallstead shakes his head. "It's all coincidence." But Normie isn't so sure. "No, something's happening, something beyond us." Hallstead turns coldly back to Bena. "Lock him up, if he acts out again." He won't get another warning. Quiet. Then chaos. Without warning, the ship's main monitor flickers, and Madame Tai's face appears. But her eyes aren't her own anymore. The Legion has found her. It reaches through the screen with a twisted, spectral hand and just like that she's under its control, her body stiff, her voice no longer hers. The Legion spreads fast, a digital plague crawling into every crew member, whispering their names like a curse. Even Bena isn't spared. As they sleep, the Legion invades their dreams, exposing every weakness, every shame, every buried fear. They wake up drenched in sweat, trembling, changed. Then it reaches Hallstead. A heavy silence falls. Hallstead finds himself somewhere else, not on the ship, not in his chair, surrounded by an unnatural stillness, the air thick with dread, and then he hears it. The Legion speaks. It reveals its truth. It was once divine, a being that stood beside the Creator himself, until it was cast out into an endless void of silence and suffering. "You doubt Bena's story," the Legion hisses. "But he did fight me and failed." Then, with venom in its voice, it reveals something darker. God abandoned them both, thrown into a place where no light shines, where faith holds no power, where evil thrives without chains. The Legion laughs coldly, toying with Hallstead's thoughts, pulling at his mind like thread through a needle, and then... snap! Holst jolts upright in his chair, gasping for air, heart pounding. But was it all just a dream, or did the darkness finally find its way in? The darkness coils tighter. The Legion slithers into Bena's mind like a serpent and whispers, "It's over." Its voice drips with venom as it mocks his shattered faith, his dead world, his silent God. "Your time is gone," it hisses. "Your hope is ashes. You've been abandoned." But Bena spits back. "You're trying to rule what's left." The Legion doesn't deny it. It grins and calls humanity weak, easy to bend, easier to break. Then it offers him a place at its side, a seat beside the ancient force that once stood next to the Creator. Bena refuses. Fiercely, the Legion's voice turns cold. It says the pentagram isn't random. It's the signal of a cosmic shift long foretold. "You have no cross, no hand, no God," it purrs. "Even he has forgotten you." Bena's voice wavers as he asks the question, clawing at his soul. "Why has God forsaken me?" Meanwhile, in the command chamber, Hallstead speaks to Tai. Though she's clearly not herself, her voice has the cadence of the Legion beneath it. She smiles eerily and informs him the High Council has ordered the house to be towed back to Earth for analysis. Hallstead's jaw tightens. "That thing should be destroyed, sent into the black hole." But Tai cuts him off. The house is harmless. The symbol means nothing. When Hallstead pushes back, her eyes flash, and she threatens to destroy the ship if he disobeys. Rattled but determined, Hallstead gathers the crew for an emergency meeting. Bena joins them in chains but speaks with urgency. "Tai's under Legion's control," he warns. "The house is its anchor. If it's not destroyed, this evil will spread." Normie steps up, proposing they plant thermal charges inside the structure and detonate them after transport. Hallstead agrees, then adds they'll nuke the black hole once the house is gone. Bena's final warning cuts through the tension like a blade. It will use fear. It will lie. It will break us before we even reach the door. Nah. Hallstead and Normie step into the rotting halls of the cursed house, planting thermal charges one by one. The air is thick, almost watching them. As they move, Bena quietly recovers his scattered holy water, his last remaining weapon of faith. Back on the ship, the Legion discovers their plan, thanks to Yakowitz. Twisting his will like a marionette, it takes full control of him. With lifeless eyes, Yakowitz approaches Maitland and opens fire, blast after blast. Maitland collapses, riddled with laser wounds, dead before he can even fight back. Unaware, Hallstead radios for transport. "Maitland, beam us back, now!" Static, no answer. That's when the creatures descend. Misshapen, shrieking horrors rush the team. They fight their way into a nearby room and slam the door. Then, Yakowitz appears on the comms. Calm, hollow, Ty's sending another team. "You're not getting off that house," he says. That's when it clicks. Yakowitz is gone. The Legion has him. Just then, the door bursts open and one of the creatures lunges, but Bena hurls his holy water and the thing recoils, hissing, melting, retreating into the shadows. With time running out, Hallstead hacks into the ship's old manual transport system. It's clunky, but it worked. The team returns to the bridge, beaten but alive. They find Yakowitz waiting, but not for long. Together they overpower him and finally detonate the house, watching it vanish into flame. But it's not over. Yakowitz escapes in the chaos and sprints toward the weapons center. Seconds later, the nuke launches. The team races after him, but it's too late to stop the launch. Fueled by fury, Normie raises her gun and fires. Yakowitz falls dead on the floor. Working quickly, they redirect the nuke. It veers toward the pentagram and obliterates the cursed symbol in one massive blast. But as the fire fades, alarms blare. The ship's engines flicker, then fail. They won the battle, but the war? Far from over. The final battle begins. Bena charges toward the Legion, hurling holy water like a storm of fire. The twisted entity screeches, shrinking away from the sacred burn. Step by step, Bena pushes it back, toward the transporter room, toward its doom. Hallstead doesn't hesitate. He slams the controls, and in a blinding flash, the Legion is launched into the endless void of space. With one last cry of defiance, Bena calls upon the strength of his faith and destroys the Legion once and for all, obliterated into nothingness. In that very moment, a warm light surrounds Bena. He's lifted into a heavenly realm where God himself welcomes him home and praises his unshakable stand against evil. "You fought until the very end," a voice echoes. "Now rest." But back on the ship, chaos reigns. The engine sputters, the deck groans, and then Hallstead and Normie are pulled into the black hole. Their screams vanish into the void. When the backup team arrives, they're met with silence. Only the black hole remains, and far away, back at command, Ty stares into a monitor. Her smile twists, her eyes glow faintly, and she laughs. A deep, wicked laugh. Everything is going exactly as it should. The Legion still lives. Inside her. The end. Thanks for watching. If this story gave you chills, be sure to like and subscribe. Got a movie you want recapped next? Drop it in the comments.